We're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. At the end of the song, actually. Very mellow song.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show starring a binary trans woman born in the body of a non-binary atheist, trade unionist, equality advocate, and an Oako syndicalist that self-identifies as an unhinged beer pimp, outraged brigade commander, free speech police officer, SJW, and a bad faith agent of chaos.
Oh dear. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the latest version of the Tea Party. I do apologize. I had a good reason for not having the show the last couple times. I was in the hospital. So, yeah. But I'm glad to be out. They let me out. And yeah, that was lots of fun. I'm feeling better. Yeah, better than I was. But tonight, it's going to be kind of a weird show. It's going to be a mix of video and it's going to be a mix of tweets. But I'm going to just jump right in here. So I had this video pop up. And it really, really, really kind of, I don't know, hit some heartstrings. Not heartstrings. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, I've seen this somewhere before. Where have I seen this before? And then I was like, oh, yeah, I remember. So, yeah. Let's bring up. Oh, is that the one I wanted? Actually, it's my green screen. My green screen camera is working. I thought it wasn't working. Anyways, so this video. I want to use this window. I want to use this window because I think you'll see why. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I just need to get on with it. Sometimes you just need to. Okay, here we go.
This is is probably the last time I'm going to respond to you because you've made it pretty clear that any and everything I say is just going to go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But yes, people literally do lose their culture by not sharing it. We're not talking about sharing. We're talking about stealing. We're talking about culture that people are maligned for doing a thing before it gets taken and then discarded. Perfect example, AAVE. Black people have been using AAVE for years, for centuries. Then white folks came along and decided it was internet stan language. And then, like they do with every fad, they got bored with it and decided it was dated and lame. So like before it was popular, black people got made fun of for talking like that. Then the white people decided they wanted to talk like that. Then they decided they were bored of talking like that. And now black people get made fun of for talking like that again, which they've been doing the whole time because now it's dated and it's tired and it's played out and it's old. It doesn't matter that they've been doing it for forever. White people took it, played with it, and got bored, discarded it. And now nobody gets to use it. I said I was done responding to this person, and I am. I'm no longer talking to them. But isn't it adorable how white people always think that they have some kind of like intense inside understanding as to what minorities are going through? Like to just so confidently with your whole chest say nothing was lost from white people. How would you know? You're not black. You have no idea what culture was affected and what culture was lost and how it was lost and how it affected. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. You know nothing. But you are so loud and bold and confident. White people really do think that they're like the experts on literally everything, that they can somehow understand every single perspective on every single issue because they're so used to every single issue being centered around them. I just think it's really funny.
And I'm going to go back to the first
This
video.
is probably the last time I'm going to respond to you because you've made it pretty clear that any and everything I say is just going to go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But yes, people literally do lose their culture by not sharing it. We're not talking about sharing. We're talking about stealing.
Okay, so if you go over here, as I was kind of pushing in here, you see Natalie Wynn, ContraPoints, saying all these things that we just need to that are just outdated. And it's funny because there were people in the comments. I was like there were some people that were jumping on it, but then this person, open DNA. The intersection is where white people stole words from AAVE and overused them until they're sick of them and then decide nobody is allowed to use them anymore. Oh God. Yeah, and then of course, I mean, you just like these lists are basically things that were appropriated by the white leftists. I'm gonna have a drink. Some random geek in the chat is asking what kind of tea. That's a good question. I'm spilling it right now. So yeah, I think that, and this was from March. As far as I know, she's not apologized for this. This is kind of her MO. This is what she does. She causes a controversy. She runs off. She gets canceled and gets those Patreon dollars up, gets us canceling those cancel dollars. And I don't want to play the whole thing, but and I wasn't even going to play it, but I can't even, I'm not sure if I can even spell it. It's bad. YouTube rant. This rant, I want to.
Is HelloFresh worth the price?
No, it's really not. It's really not. The spoiler alert: HelloFresh is not worth the price. We talked. I've talked on the show before. Talked about how BreadTube is something that really is kind of kind of it's money. It's for a lot of people it's a grift. So this one, creators make a lot of money. So we're going to go straight to that point because I want to emphasize this. So they said about 29.
TV/Bad Empanada. So go follow me there.
This is OutSystems.
Oh, you.
Full stack application development platform for professional development.
Now, but it's unlikely that I'm going to be using it very often, or maybe even not at all. And if I ever do, it's very doubtful that I'm going to take it very seriously. And if you go over there and follow me, you'll get a notification if I ever actually do go live. Yay.
Oh, this is killing me, YouTube. Sorry, but I'm not getting YouTube Prime or whatever it is.
Creators make a whole lot of money. Something very related to every single thing that I've talked about in this video is that creators tend to make a whole lot of money. A lot more than they tend to let on too. Some bigger creators actually like to hide how much they make, something which I honestly find a bit suspect. I think that they suspect that some people would be less inclined to send them money if they knew exactly how much they were actually making already. So that's a bit manipulative, isn't it? Anyway, let me try to give you an idea of how much they make. Right now, I make $1,418 a month on Patreon with 383 patrons. That means that the average pledge on my Patreon is $3.70 per month. Let's go over to ContraPoints' Patreon, since she is both considered BreadTube and, as far as I know, has the biggest Patreon for an individual YouTuber out of everyone. Right now, she has about 13,500 patrons. If she makes at least as much as me per patron, in reality, I think she probably makes more since her tiers start at $3 while mine start at $1. Then she's making $50,000 a month from Patreon alone, not counting anything else. Now, I'm sure that she puts a lot of money back into her videos and pays the people who work with her, etc. But as someone who has intimate insight into this stuff, no, it's not anywhere near that much, okay? She's making bank, basically, and all from putting out like 5 videos total every year. Then there's someone like PhilosophyTube. PhilosophyTube has around 8,000 patrons, which, using the same estimate, would net her about $30,000 a month. However, PhilosophyTube works on a very consistent schedule. She also very clearly invests a lot of money into her monthly videos. She hires a whole damn professional production company, for example. Whatever you think of her politics or her arguments, etc., her maintenance of such a strict schedule is nonetheless impressive and basically exactly what viewers should expect from a creator who they support. So there's 2 different sorts of Patreons there.
Yeah, see, I mean, this is probably one of the best things that there's a piece missing here where, like, I love the numbers, so you know about exactly how much ContraPoints is making, roughly. I mean, and this is just going off of, this is just going off of his numbers. This is not going off the actual numbers, but so it would be a lot more. You're talking just from Patreon alone, $600,000 a year. $600,000 a year.
ContraPoints is people are just
that's not any of the money that she's getting from YouTube.
Kind of funding her life, and every now and again she might bless them with a video, and I find that kind of problematic. I feel like a lot of people are giving money to someone who's already like way richer than they are. She probably makes more in a month than most of them make in a year, and she doesn't even remotely need 80% of that money for her work, and they very occasionally get a video in return, which they could also have just watched anyway without giving her a cent. PhilosophyTube, however, operates like someone who is actually getting paid to make videos, like someone who has a job, a video every month. Simple. If that's something that she feels she can't do alone, then she spares no expense in getting the help that she needs to make sure that she can. One of these people clearly respects their supporters and sees themselves as a content creator who is being paid to make videos.
Well, and here's the thing. Anarchy Media says, why are big bread tubers so toxic? And this is what I think. Is it bad empanada? What he gets wrong, or not wrong, what he leaves out, I think, is that these creators are basically creatures of their creations of YouTube. YouTube, the algorithm boosts these people. They boost these people and create them essentially. This is the YouTube economy. This is the YouTube algorithm doing what it does. It's not a mistake. It's not. It's planned this way. We're going to play a little more of this because I do want to get.
Rather than simply for being whoever the audience imagines them to be. The other, well, who knows? But certainly not that. Now, I obviously know absolutely nothing about ContraPoints' personal life, and I don't want to speculate. You know, maybe she's struggling, maybe she has some problem that makes her unable to work all the time, etc. But still, she does not need $50,000 a month to do what she does while still leading a comfortable life. And
oh my God, Jamie, you are so on the money. You are so on the money. And you know what? TikTok is somebody said TikTok is like the meshing of Twitter and YouTube, and that is right on the money. This is exactly what they do. Toxicity means response. Videos mean more engagement. They don't give a fuck what you think. They want you to engage. That's the whole thing. Say something as shitty as possible. ContraPoints can go out there and throw out this fucking racist as fuck tweet. And then because she has no, by the way, hi Jamie J, Gamey Gay. There's no, absolutely no, she doesn't even respond to the criticism anymore on Twitter. She doesn't. There's no responses. So, and she doesn't get fucking canceled. She'll go and talk about canceling. It's such a bad thing. It's such a terrible thing, and it's complete bullshit. Even the people that do get legitimately canceled.
He's nuts.
The people that do get legitimately canceled, I'm sorry. They are they are truly, they aren't canceled at all. Anyways, I'll let him
and
continue.
yet tons of people who are no doubt not living lives that are anywhere near as comfortable are nonetheless giving her money. Obviously, it's not like she's forcing them to donate or coercing them into donating or anything like that, but I still find this very concerning. It's a really excellent example of some of the potential problems of people kind of idolizing internet personalities that I outlined in the first section. And I haven't even talked about streamers yet. A dedicated streamer with the same follow.
And he goes on to talk about streaming and how the act of streaming, and this is what kills me, is about people like Destiny. I mean, they'll be talking about the Jewish question while playing a fucking video game. Anarchy Media says, Jamie J, also more Patreon dollars than low-key alt-right simping while claiming to de-radicalize alt-rightists despite them still talking about all the same bigoted garbage. And it's so fucking true. And here's the thing. The reality is that no matter how, I don't give a fuck how big your audience is. Carl Benjamin had 1 million subscribers. Carl Benjamin had 1 million subscribers on YouTube when he ran for political office. He fucking destroyed UKIP. He got hammered. I don't even think they got their money back. If you get a certain amount of votes, you get your money back. I don't even think he got his money back. And Adam Rainstoffer in the chat says, you know who's canceled? Glenn Danzig. Glenn Danzig's a prick anyways. I have stories from him back when he was in Sam Hain, and he was an asshole. He would beat up promoters that didn't pay him or didn't pay him all the money that they'd been promised. I'm not a big fan. But yeah. Yeah. I laughed because Glenn Danzig said that punk wouldn't have happened if they'd have the woke scolds from today. And I just it just makes me piss myself laughing. When people try to act like that, these like Destiny or oh god, I forget that Vosh, that they're bringing people to leftism. Well, where, what in the fuck are they doing? How is that manifesting in the boots on the ground, changes in the real world? Can we stop referring to converting chuds to being diet chuds as de-radicalizing? Yes. Well, and that's the thing. It's all just a fucking joke. It's just a joke. There is no de-radicalizing. They weren't doing anything but sitting in their fucking basements playing games. They aren't voting. They don't change anything. I mean, not that I'm saying that politics is the end all be all, but these people aren't the ones that are going out on the streets. They aren't going to Black Lives Matter protests. They're not doing any goddamn thing. You show me one YouTuber of any political stripe that's had any impact on any real life event, political or otherwise. I can't think of one. Not a goddamn one. So having subscriptions on YouTube is not the same as having political clout. You have to have people that are going to actually go do something. And these people aren't. They just don't. So it's hilarious to try and claim that these people are somehow that they're de-radicalizing anybody. They're swinging Patreon subscriptions from Carl Benjamin to I don't even want to say his name. Pick your bread tuber. Adam says, even if their ideology is not a radical one, radical means you intend to overturn existing structures of power, not fortifying and reinforcing them. And that's the thing. Name me one fucking YouTuber. And you know, there was a Thought Slime recently did a video as well, where he talks about, I tried clicking on my own fucking stream. I'm trying to see if, oh, by the way, today is May 1st. It's May Day. You can thank all the fucking unions and everything for your he did a video recently that I thought was fucking really, really good. But he basically talked about being a comedian and not a thought leader and all of what that entailed. And I thought, well, at least that's fucking honest, you know? But still, and Bad Infinata said it the best, I think, at the end of his video. Basically said that YouTube is entertainment. It is not Brian Mayday. Patreon is not a fucking it's not advocacy. It's not boots on the ground. It's not revolutionary. It's you're paying someone to make you entertainment. That's it. It may be interesting, factual entertainment, but it's entertainment. Jamie said yesterday was the anniversary of one of the biggest Nazi de-radicalizations of all time. Yes. By the way, Jonathan has some entertainment where he reads stuff sometimes and he also plays games sometimes. I don't know what game he was playing before. Oh, by the way, if you would like to chitty chat with me in person, I would definitely like to try to give this a I actually have if I know how to do this better. God damn you. If you go right, that's actually there, right there. It's actually right there on my screen, but it's right here. If you want to chat, I don't think you guys can see that, can you? Let's see if I can fix that. I didn't realize it was going to be. Didn't realize it was going to be there. God damn it. There we go. No, god damn it, that's not it either. There it is. I think. There we go. I think that works. Anyways, if you want to use that little Google Meets and we can have a chat, I think that would work. Yeah, well, here's Anarchy Media. I mean, when it comes to Jonathan posted something on Facebook about like ditching all your heroes. My saying is the best hero is a sandwich. That's about the only one that you can ever trust. I think that's true. Yeah. So yeah, they're all going to be problematic, and I think you take your information where you can get it and kind of deconstruct it from there. It's all right. I'm not going to force anybody to come on and chitty chat with me on the Google Meets. Only if you want to. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And really, as far as I know, Natalie hasn't fucking said anything about her appropriation or fucking commenting on how all this needs to stop. You know, all this we need to stop using this stuff. That's what I may have been a little bit harsh by using KKKontrapoints, but it is racist as fuck, and I think she knew it. And if she didn't, fucking shame on her for not fucking knowing that. So anyway, so let's see. Where am I on my playlist? All right. So, oh, I forgot, man. I'm doing this shit.
We're streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook by searching for Tea Party Podcast. That's the letter T followed by Party Podcast, all one word. And on Twitter and Instagram at Marty Abernathy. You can financially support the show by making a one-time donation by going to trans.fm or by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Marty Abernathy. That's MartyAbernathy.
I only did that about 20 minutes in. So anyways, yeah. There was another video I found really interesting. It has to do with sexual orientation, and I thought it was very interesting. Let me turn that off for a minute. I want to play this because it got me to thinking about my own shit. Let me bring this on. All right. So this is about dating and about preferences and dating. I thought it was very interesting.
Part 5. There's so much to say. Let's go through an exercise. Okay, for all the people who don't understand what a preference is. For example, let's say you're one of those people who just doesn't date black girls. Let's go through the thought process together. Why don't you date black girls? Well, it's just my preference. Okay, why? Because I just don't find them very attractive. All black girls, every single one of them? Yes. Okay. Why? Maybe it's because I was raised in a society based on white supremacy and I've been heavily influenced by Eurocentric, whatever that means, beauty standards. Maybe my preferences are rooted in just a scooch of racism. I should unpack that. Let's do another one. Let's say someone doesn't want to date bi men. Why? It's just my preference. Okay, why? Because it makes me uncomfortable. Okay, why? Because they also date men. Okay, why does that make you uncomfortable? Because I see that as feminine. Okay, what's the problem with that? Damn. Misogyny.
When your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people, that's problematic.
That was beautifully said. I think the issue is people don't like being associated with icky words.
Let's stop that for a second.
But when your preferences exclude an entire...
We all know what...
God damn it.
Part 5. There's so much to say.
Let's go back.
Influenced by Eurocentric, whatever that means, beauty standards. Maybe my preferences are rooted in just a scooch of racism. I should unpack that. Let's do another one. Let's say someone doesn't want to date bi men. Why? It's just my preference. Okay, why? Because it makes me uncomfortable. Okay, why? Because they also date men. Okay, why does that make you uncomfortable? Because I see that as feminine. Okay, what's the problem with that? Damn. Misogyny.
But when your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people...
So, yeah. So, that's the thing. Like, dating preferences... I think unless I have a hard time figuring out when is it racist. I think it's racist when you say you make it a qualification. When you say I won't, it's misogynistic or it's racist, it's homophobic. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. But I definitely think that she hits on the money with that.
But when your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people, that's problematic.
Exactly. Everything in that video is beautifully said. I think the issue is people don't like being associated with icky words. You're racist, you're misogynistic, you're homophobic, you're transphobic, you're biphobic. Or the people who only have a dictionary definition level of understanding of those words. For those who don't understand that our society is built upon every single one of those things, so it's inevitable for all of us to.
That's what I think a lot of people don't want to admit, that you live in a society that's transphobic, you live in a society that's racist, you live in a society that's misogynistic. All these things intersect, and all of those oppressions impact all of us. We are either oppressors or the oppressed, but they all impact us. And when we're part of the problem is when people start getting defensive.
Have some form of those ideologies ingrained within us take offense to these words. They see it as an attack on their moral character instead of a call to action. So sometimes when people are called out for saying something racist or having biphobic preferences, the knee-jerk reaction is to be defensive and say, how dare you attack my moral character, instead of saying, maybe I should unpack where that came from. Here's an example. Pause to read. So because people don't like being associated with those icky. Here's an example. Pause to read. So because people don't like being associated with those icky,
I want to pause to read.
Is to be defensive and say, how dare you attack my moral character, instead of saying, maybe I should unpack where that came from. So
this person says, you say you're not forcing people, but then throw out terms like transphobic and biphobic for their preferences. You say it's rooted in them, but so just because you don't like the words doesn't mean they don't apply to you. We all have to unpack our own biases. And that's the thing. People don't like self-reflection. Don't call me this, don't call me that.
Pause to read. So because people don't like being associated with those icky words, they hide behind the word preference because that makes them feel better about themselves. They would much rather say, I just have a preference, instead of saying, I have some biphobic tendencies.
That's right, on the money. Truth. Hard truth. Yeah. So yeah. But I thought that was interesting. Adam says it's a matter of degree. It's all racist or misogynistic, whatever. It's just some people are less willing to even take that onto consideration than others. I think the reality is, though, that there are so many people that get offended when you call them a racist, or you call them a homophobe, or they say I don't want to date A, and it should be I'm going to date or love who I love. Period. End of story. And not put a fucking qualification. I would never date so and so. Well, you're just showing yourself to be homophobic, transphobic, whatever. A preference just if you're saying, well, I won't date trans women. Well, what if you fell in love with a trans woman? Well, I that just ain't right. I'm just like, okay, whatever. That is transphobia, though. Because if you're not going to love some, anyways. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I'm not going to say that I 100% know that to be true, but I think it's an interesting premise. Definitely. The next thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, I thought this video is right on the fucking money. By the way, I'm going to put that one down here. So there was recently, but this happens all the fucking time, and when people are talking about minors being the victim of sexually related offenses. You'll in the media, people for some reason won't say what it is, and this is what kills me.
No, all of these headlines, all of them, every single one, incorrect. Incorrect. Say it with me. He did not pay for sex with a minor. He paid a trafficker to rape a minor. Use the right verbiage. Stop giving excuses for rape in general, but especially of children. You cannot pay to have sex with a minor. You can pay to rape one. You can pay, you sure as fuck can. Sure can. Okay. Media is a huge part of the problem with narratives like this. It's bullshit.
Yeah, why in the fuck? They didn't pay for sex with a minor. They raped a minor. For anybody else, that's statutory rape. That is rape. Sorry. Depends on where you're at. But that being said, the kind of language they use, especially when it comes to somebody that's a congressman, pay for sex with a minor, you know, Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm just going through some random stuff. I wanted to talk about, there is a case in in the UK. And the woman's name is Maya Forstater, and basically she got her ass handed to her in court, and she's appealing it. And this group called the European Human Rights Commission, I believe. No, it's not. It's employment, I think. Let's see. Equality and Human Rights Commission. In the UK, basically, she wanted to have the right to misgender trans people. And there was a good video on it by oh God, what's his name? He's one of Kevin's friends. I want to play this.
And it's not a question of being horrible to trans people or interfering with trans rights.
Except it is, and this is what this case was always about. Forstater insisted on referring to trans people by their birth sex. She was unnecessarily aggressive, such as when she gave a backhanded apology to the non-binary Gregor Murray by saying, "I had simply forgotten that this man demands they them pronouns. It's wholly unnecessary and constitutes harassment, as per the court's ruling."
This is about the rights of somebody to say something which for most people is simply a statement of fact.
You can think something is a fact, but it being a statement of fact doesn't excuse using it to harass people. If my coworker loses a parent, your dad is dead is a statement of fact. But if I bring it up all the time in conversation, it's cruel bullying, not just a statement of fact.
It's almost a kind of criminalization of the idea that you can actually say that biology is fixed, right? Well, which is an extraordinary state of affairs.
Biology isn't fixed. Our bodies are changing all the time. Anytime you have drugs or surgery, your biology is changing. Trans people often change their biology to match their identity. We all fit somewhere along a spectrum of sex characteristics, but this is changeable. You can say biology is fixed, but you're just wrong.
We all know.
So yeah, and there was actually there was let's see if I can find it, because I brought it in here late. Let's see if I can find her. There's a doctor. Yes. Let's see if I can do this. So there was a doctor that had some comment on this as well. Not on this specific thing, but same type of thing. People talking about fucking, oh, we're experts on this. It's just basic biology.
I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can, but based on biology and anatomy.
So you woke up and chose hate and intolerance and decided to channel it through a Stitch video with one of my videos that promotes love and acceptance. And you use science and biology to back your claims. And as a doctor, I love those things. So there's a lot to unpack here. So let's begin, shall we? First of all, when you start out by saying, I'm going to do this as respectfully as I can, you know you're not going to be respectful. And you weren't. Second of all, using your way of thinking, a woman who could not get pregnant or didn't have a period, and those women do exist, in your eyes, they wouldn't be female at all. And I think we both know that that's not true. Third of all, I'm guessing that maybe you passed high school biology and therefore you think that XX means female, XY means male, and there's nothing in between. Had you gone a little bit further in science, maybe you would know that that's not the case. So what would you feel comfortable calling somebody who had a male genitalia but had a uterus on the inside? But at the end of the day, none of that even matters, because this is about showing people respect and being a decent human being. You don't need science for that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what this Forrester case, basically, she wants the right to misgender people, basically. So I think it's interesting because I did do a tweet saying that a lot of this is caused by Brexit. And it's the unintended consequences of Brexit. Because ironically, a lot of the Brexiteers that came in the UK were actually conservatives and social conservatives. Dave Davies and that kind of crowd, the people that are really anti-trans. And it brought in a lot of different kinds of hatred of trans people. And here's the interesting thing. The Equality and Human Rights Commission chose to intervene on the side of Maya in this. They were under no obligation to do so. Also note, senior EHRC appointments are vetted by the GEO, headed by Liz Truss. Liz Truss, again, is someone that has sided with TERFs. And I mean, that's just it. Anarchy Media says destroying UKIP, aka the single most positive contribution to humanity Carl Benjamin has ever made, and he didn't even do it on purpose. Well, that's true. That's very true. But the election that basically people wanted Brexit meant Brexit, and they wanted it, and they didn't care what the consequences were. This is a consequence. basically Liz Truss is ahead of, she's going to appoint people to this committee, and it's this commission, and basically, if you look at this from Simon Whitten, he said EHRC commissioners are appointed by the government and serve in renewable 4-year terms. Every commissioner was appointed because they were agreeable to the Tories, and not a single commissioner appointed under the coalition has had their term renewed. The Tories have not been shy about packing the commission with cronies. 2 former commissioners claim they were stacked because they spoke out about racism. Or they were sacked because they spoke out about racism. And he's got receipts. He says one current EHRC commissioner, Pavita Cooper, was caught in a scandal where it turned out she had failed to declare donations to the Tory party prior to her appointment. The Tory-packed EHRC seems to pick and choose its interventions politically, declining to investigate anti-Muslim bigotry in the Tory party or the deaths of people with disabilities following the wrongful withdrawal of their benefits, or trans people, and transphobia within any of the parties. Fuck no. That's what always killed me about the supposed anti-Semitism problem within the Tory party. So there are more trans people in the UK than there are Jewish people in the UK. There are more Muslim people in the UK than there are Jewish people. But is Islamophobia tackled within the parties? No. The only thing that they decided to is they wanted to weaponize anti-Semitism to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn, so they could have somebody in place to basically it doesn't matter whether it's Labour now or the Tories. It's kind of Tory or Tory light. Simon goes on, the biases of these commissioners is readily apparent in their social media activity and often well documented. E.g., Alistair Henderson seems to have a number of extremely right-wing views. He had posts describing the words misogynist and homophobe as highly ideological propaganda terms. But things got a whole lot worse following the appointment of Liz Truss as Minister of Women and Equalities by Johnson. She appointed Kishore Faulkner, known for her idiosyncratic views of British Muslims, as chair. While chair of the EHRC, Faulkner has signaled her support for gender-critical views and criticizing inclusive language in the maternity bill. Yeah, she was upset that they were calling them pregnant people instead of pregnant women, because trans men, she doesn't give a fuck if they exist or not. But Faulkner is a total moderate compared with Truss's other appointments to the EHRC. David Goodhart insists white self-interest and preference for your own ethnic group are not racist. White self-interest is not the same thing as racism. Goodhart's appointment, which followed his vocal support for the racist hostile environment policy, led to a number of third sector equalities groups declaring their loss of confidence in the EHRC late last year. Appointed around the same time was Jessica Butcher, who dismisses evidence of a gender pay gap and accuses feminists of perpetuating a victim mentality. Sadly, the EHRC's intervention in support of transphobic Transphobe rights is an inevitable result of packing the commission with reactionaries, Tory donors, and lackeys. And that's the thing. This is a shift because of Brexit, but it's going to affect so many things. That's the thing. If you can talk about trans people in the workplace, you can talk about, because trans people are a protected class because of the Equality Act. So if you can, this is going to be a shotgun kind of thing. If they rule for her, it's going to open up a whole lot of abuse to people in the workplace, not just trans people. As always, when people talk about bathrooms, when people talk about changing rooms, when people talk about locker rooms, about trans people, they always forget who these kind of laws are going to impact the most. They're going to impact cis people, cis gender nonconforming people. Happens every fucking time. So, yeah. This person said, so let me get this straight. According to the EHRC, small levels of anti-Semitism in the Labor Party are unconscionable, but transphobes are to be protected. And Lisa T. Mullen says the UK EHRC have intervened in the Forster appeal, saying the Employment Tribunal's December 2019 ruling was wrong, and that gender-critical views should be protected belief under the Equality Act. These are controversial views that we say should be protected. But there's their QC Karen Monahan has stated she has gender-critical views, so I think it's clear that the EHRC are now throwing trans women under the bus. She is the QC for a high court against the Ministry of Justice to ban trans women from women's prisons. She argued that male convicts who identify as female should not be in prison alongside women because they are disproportionately likely to commit sexual assaults and should be instead housed in a separate wing. Her lawyer, this Karen Monahan, QC, pointed out that while trans inmates made up just 1% of those housed in women's prisons, they are responsible for 5.6% of sexual assaults. Note that is factually untrue. This is an important case because if they win, it can be replicated into all women's spaces. So, yeah. But it's actually worse than that. I hate to say it, but what the trans actually said, Maya Forstarter's case isn't nothing, but the situation that is far more pressing is Ann Senat's attempt at judicial review over the EHRC's guidance on how to interpret the Equality Act. Not nearly as sexy, but it has the potential to affect every trans person in the UK. The EHRC are people in charge of how the Equality Act works. They send out guidelines to local authorities, businesses, and others that instruct how the Equality Act should be interpreted. And that's the thing. Currently, the Equality Act offered by the EHRC states that a trans person should be treated as the gender they are. Senat argues that this guidance is unlawful because it allows trans people to use whatever spaces they wish. She believes that exemptions in the Equality Act mean single-sex spaces should be able to bar transgender people. And it says that specifically that it doesn't. If Ann Senat's case is granted, a judicial review then means that the guidance on how it is interpreted and act on the Equality Act could be subject to change. We will find out next month. But that's the thing. This is really fucked up. This is really fucked up. And these judicial reviews, I mean, this has already been ruled on, and now they've appealed it and to the judicial review. But hopefully, people will realize what a quagmire, not just for trans people, but how this will be bad for all people, not just trans people, when it comes to Maya's case. So I thought that was fairly interesting. On the trans front, one of the bills in America, I absolutely love this. This is on MSNBC. They should have known going on a liberal show.
We all know what an absolute advantage boys would have playing against girls.
But, sir, you have no examples of this happening. Why would you take your time to do this? Let's talk about other things that I can give you examples of in your state. According to U.S. News and World Report, West Virginia ranks 45th in education, 47th in healthcare, 48th on the economy, and 50th in infrastructure. If you cannot name one single example for me of a child doing this, why would you make this a priority? I just named 4 things that would seem to me like a much bigger priority.
Uh-oh. I got to be careful with this because I don't want to get copyright strike with music. But yeah, he really did get his ass handed to him. But it won't matter because the people of West Virginia don't care. I mean, all those things have been true for a long time, and they don't give a fuck. I mean, it's just the case. I forget what this is.
America is not a racist country.
That was Tim Scott, representative from South Carolina. I am a tax-paying resident of South Carolina. Lindsey Graham also said the same thing in a press conference or whatever the fuck he was doing. Now listen, as a general rule of thumb, you should never take anything South Carolina has to say when it comes to racism in this country to mean shit. We're the state that seceded from the Union.
Snap.
We started the Civil War.
Snap.
So please do not listen to Uncle Ruckus over here or Lindsey Graham Cracker, because in South Carolina, Tim Scott is referred to as the Republican darky. We wanted Jamie Harrison, goddammit. I keep telling y'all, stop sending your evangelical antebellum white parents down here to retire because they like watching Negroes like that dance around for them. That man will say anything to keep Lindsey Graham's dick in his mouth. If this...
Ouch. And then somebody had the gall to basically say, well, what about these? What about these things? America's not racist because of all these things that were passed.
Even gets up, it's just going to get pulled again for harassment and bullying. You've been warned. So save this hoe because I promise you're not going to see it for very long. Screen record, do what you got to do. You wrote all of this and then wrote behind this. Do all of these things not matter? Yeah, dumbass. It shows how racist this country actually is, was, and will continue to be. They desegregated the military, which means the military was segregated, which means that black people were not allowed to serve with white people because of racism. The Voting Rights Act got passed because they didn't let black people vote because of racism. They desegregated schools because they didn't want white children going to school with black children because of racism. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were put there as amendments to the Constitution, which was written for only straight white men because of racism. The people that wrote it actually owned people. And by the way, we're still discriminated against in this country in spite of everything you mentioned.
And that is straight on fact. I mean, that's all those things happen because of racism. It's unbelievable. Anyways, I did want to get back to talking about trans stuff. One of the things that interested me, so back in the early 2000s, I think it was, let me look. Let me look. There was a movie. It was called The Gendercator. And what was interesting about it was, I want to show you this. This here basically was the main character, and it's kind of like a Rip Van Winkle story, but instead this woman wakes up, she goes to sleep, and it's the 1960s, and she wakes up and it's like 2034, right? So, and this is actually going to be right from the person, Catherine Crouch. This is how it's described. 20-minute science fiction flick depicting a nightmare fantasy where a butch lesbian from the 1970s falls asleep and awakens in the future to discover that religious conservatives have outlawed homosexuality and forced women who present as men to undergo gender assignment surgeries to become male. And this is Catherine Crouch saying, "My fear is that the gender binary and of the religious right taking over cultures all over the world, they would have us exterminated, and I wondered how they would be doing it. They're already doing it in some countries," said Crouch, referring to gay men in Iran who undergo surgery to become women in order to escape being killed because they are homosexual. Crouch said she made the film to work out her own personal issues with seeing young women reject the term lesbian and prefer to live their life as trans men. "I made the film because I noticed a lot of lesbian women, a lot of the women in the lesbian community who do not identify as female or wish to be perceived as female anymore, and I wonder why this is happening so fast. In the past, transsexuals came from all across the community, but we are not seeing a lot of male to female transitions." Crouch said that she found the trend troubling because it seemed to her that women who were becoming F to Ms were not doing so based on their own desires, but to meet societal pressures. "My concern is that it is coming from the outside. It is different to be a woman and a lesbian," she said. "I am very concerned about heterosexual women who have elective surgery." That has been lost in this film. And what kills me about that is, you know what this is never about? This is never about a person's fucking choice. It's never about a person's choice. It's never about their personal autonomy. It's never about it's never about their bodily autonomy, their personal liberty. So it's about somebody else being worried about what other people are doing with their bodies. That's why I have always said that TERFism comes from a place, a conservative place. It is not an accident that people like Mary Daly, who wrote that trans women were like Frankenstein creatures. She had a divinity degree. Janice Raymond had a divinity degree. They both came out of conservative circles. The ideology is not radical at all. It upholds patriarchy. It upholds norms. It wants to uphold norms, gender roles, and that kind of thing. This is what Susan Stryker had to say about it. I thought it was pretty interesting.
And I'll tell you what I thought about this right now, and I want to move on to the main part of the piece, which is that in one part of the film, there's this woman who wakes up after it's like 2048. She's been asleep since the 1970s, and she's going to be made to choose a gender. She's a butch, and that she has to pick a side. Girl in pink, boy in blue, kind of thing. And this person says to her, well, what happened is back in 2008, the evangelicals took over the government. That one man, one woman thing, That's the only people who can get married. They started going after the butches and they started going after the fairies. Everybody had to pick a side. The trannies went along with it.
Yeah, that which is funny. Which is funny. This is something actually I want to play right now. I made a video. I was actually watching let's see if there was this really good the person talking about it on TikTok. And let me see if I can bring that up. This.
Absolutely, because that actually touches on the next thing I wanted to talk about. So welcome to part 4 of me talking about gateway TERF rhetoric, or the rhetoric that TERFs use to recruit new members. This time we're going to talk about the lesbian extinction scare. Most TERFs are mostly focused on trans femme individuals, but these ones are specifically focused on trans masc individuals and stopping them from transitioning. They're scared that lesbians are going to go extinct. They believe that trans masc individuals are lesbians, gender nonconforming lesbians who were pushed out of femininity and womanhood by misogyny and lesbophobia. So basically they tell these trans masc individuals when they start to still feel bad after transitioning because they're not in a supportive environment, that is regret for transitioning, and they convince them to detransition and convert them into TERFs.
So in that comment section, I basically a person mentioned that there was a lot of racism involved in this, and I always said that I said that a lot of times the saying is that within the trans community, scratch a TERF, find a racist. And so basically okay, I have to make sure the sound is off for this video. Because there's a really cool fucking song. I'm not even gonna lie. Can't find it. I'm gonna have to add this. There's a really cool fucking song, but okay. I'm gonna have to do this real quick. All right. It's called TERFs Out. Okay. So this person said, weird question, but would you say that the TERF radicalization would be parallel to the alt-right pipeline, like how pipeline targets the young? And I said, in my trans circles, we say scratch a TERF, find a racist. They are conservatives. And this person underneath here, suspiciously aphobic, said, sorry, but as a rad femme of color, hearing this from a white person is so funny. And so I made this video for her. Oh God, I have to turn the sound down on this. I love the song though. The lyrics to it are absolutely perfect, but I cannot. And then I put this Abigail Scherer. Just as the point of critical race theory is to turn the American people against one another, so the point of gender ideology is to stop the formation of stable families, the building blocks of American life. Oh, and then she grifts. And then I started pointing to gender critical or TERFs. Quite frankly, the number of women who are straightforward bigots who refer to themselves as gender critical when they just hate anyone who's different pisses me right off. And that's actually from a TERF. Julie Bendel. And then here's Posey Parker attending a fascist conference with someone that's a fucking fascist. Can't make it up. Here is Linda Bellows. Linda Bellows going to America to to go against landmark LGBT case in front of the Supreme Court, to go against the case. Here's another TERF, My Body, My Choice, Venice Allen. Tommy Robinson, speech about transgender agenda at British primary schools. These are the kind of people that support this agenda. Here's radical feminists at the fucking right-leaning Christian Heritage Foundation. Biology Isn't Bigotry, hosted by Ryan Anderson at the Heritage Foundation. All right. And this is really, Bev Joe says, trans people say about them being killed, and they don't realize that some of us wish that they would all be dead. And here's Posey Parker again, said, I wonder what the effect on men is. Hopefully death. So this is the kind of stuff that these TERFs basically. And again, conservative group host anti-trans panel of feminists. Again, there was a woman that was murdered in the UK by a police officer, and there was a protest, and the woman that got dragged away from police. This is a TERF. This is a crisis actor that represents Sisters Uncut, autogynephilic men with previous history of attacking women and campaigning for the eradication of women's spaces, just because they were supportive of trans women, inclusive. And this is Julia Long talking about woman face in the same way as blackface, as if it's the same thing. And then, of course, Rod Little identifying as a Chihuahua. And then here you have TERFs again. I said which ones are the conservative right-wing activists, and there's some abortionists, and then, but of course, you got same shit. They're all conservatives. They're all conservatives. They're all right-wing. So, and then she came back and she came back and said that that, let's see here, Posey Parker and Abigail Schreier are not radical feminists. And then I just posted no true Scotsman. And then if you go look up the definition of TERF, this is from Wikipedia. The meaning has since expanded to refer more broadly to people with trans exclusionary views who have no involvement with radical feminism. So it's not basically, if you want to disinvolve people. And this one actually says a lot of the same thing. TERF is an acronym that stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. The term describes feminists who are transphobic. So that's current fucking usage. So anyways, I thought Adam says, there they are again, just like Fash. Well, that's the thing. They are Fash. They aren't radical. In fact, oh God. There was a thing that that Kristen Williams did. I'll see if I can find it. Gender abolition TERF. I don't know if it'll yeah. Here it is. This is basically TERFism in TERF. We are here to abolish the genders. Feminists. Oh, so we won't use gendered pronouns anymore? No, TERF. No, keep those. Feminist. Gendered clothing? TERF. No, that's okay. Segregated bathrooms? TERF. No, those are important. Feminist. So we're going to do something about the gender binary. Yes, we're going to attack the idea that gender is intrinsically linked to one's anatomy. And we're going to boost the visibility of trans and intersex people who face the most violent consequences of sex and gender binaries. Yes? TERF. No. Feminist. Then exactly what are you going to do? What's your plan? How are you going to accomplish this? TERF. Abolish gender. Feminist. How? TERF. Abolish it. It's circle and repeat. It's the same fucking argument. But I want to go back to what Susan Stryker was saying as far as the movie, because the irony is that what Susan was talking about in the movie and what the movie was about, the complete reverse. They are the ones that are teaming up with the Christian right.
And so what the film does, in my opinion, is that it links trannies, that was the word she used, with reactionary, government takeovers. It's like, and that is the same bullshit that has been said about trans people for decades, right? And it's like that we're reactionary. We're anti-feminist, we're anti-gay, we're anti-gender diversity, and it is just wrong, And so, I'm out of breath there, I got so angry. So it is, it's what has been said about us, and what we have to do is that when we say like that is not true, don't say that about me, that is a stereotype, that is prejudicial, that is hateful. It's like people aren't hearing us say that, they're just hearing us say these trans people are shutting down discourse on things, trans people saying, you can't have a discussion about this, we're the only people who can talk about it. They see us as shutting down the dialogue, which is why I feel like it was so unfortunate that some other venue was not found to screen this film. The other thing that happens in the film, at the end, you see a couple of different futures that could possibly happen to this woman. One of them is that after she is taken by the gender cater, to be gender re-educated and given this choice, what are you going to be, a man or a woman? Pick one. That she says, I don't want to choose. And the gender cater, who is a female-bodied person who has been transitioned to male, the gender cater says, she's been gender educated, transition her. And so this idea that trans people are responsible for non-consensual things happening to women's bodies.
That is so on the money. This is the biggest fucking joke. 8DX in the chat says, and then you get the sex-based, quote, sex-based rights that is just rehashed Phyllis Schlafly, and it is the honest to God's truth. When they're talking about having domination over women's bodies, telling trans women, telling non-binary people, telling everyone what they need to do with their bodies. It is not, they are the oppressive ones. That's what's, and they're so worried about lesbian erasure that they dip into transphobia. And it reminds me of fucking people, white genocide. It's fucking ridiculous. It's absurd. Anyways, continue, Susan Stryker.
That trans people are the rapists. That trans people are the violators. That is exactly what has been said about.
And it's bullshit. Trans women are not the perpetrators. Trans women are routinely the victims of.
Trans people for going on 40 years now. That it's an idea that starts in the 1970s. You first start hearing it around 1973. Janice Raymond wrote about it in her book Transsexual Empire, calling transsexuals rapists. In the 70s and 80s and into the 90s, this is something that was directed against male to female people. Now it's being directed against FTM people. It's like we're all transgender queer people to the people who hate us. You know, we really have to make common cause together in NTF, FTM, genderqueer, gender variant community. All right, that's all that I want to say about that. I want to get back to the being angry part. And I'll tell you what
So that was her speech on where she talked about the gendercator. I can't find a lot on it. I can't even find any clips from it, which is kind of weird. But yeah, it was really interesting because she was from my my hometown in Indianapolis, and we were part of the people that were. I actually went to Bloomington and saw Susan Stryker. There was a panel that they did, and they played the movie, and it's as bad as you think it is. It's just as cheesy, and it's not very good. But the thing that I thought was most ironic is the construction of it. It's still the same. Still the same. Trans people are played as these perpetrators of violence when they're more often than not the victims of. So, but the funny thing too is this person that kept saying that I was saying that I had said scratch it. I didn't say scratch a TERF, find a racist. And what I said in my videos were that TERFs were bigots. Generally right-wing bigots is what is my exact terminology. And I stand by that because people of color cannot be racist, but they can be bigoted. And these TERFs are definitely bigoted. And the white ones are definitely, a lot of them are racist and have made racist comments. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, that TERF out video that I made. It's just, it's bullshit. So anyways, I thought that was interesting because I want to see when the gendercator came out. Let's see when it came out. 2007. So that was 14 years ago. So yeah, not a lot's fucking changed. I'm just gonna read the chats because I've been ignoring you guys. I'm so sorry. Adam said you can't act consistently against left values and claim to be a leftist. I mean, that's what a lot of TERFs. That's why I continually will say TERFs are conservative right-wing bigots. You look at who they side with. Who do they go to in Parliament over here in the UK? They don't go with Labour. They don't go with. They go with the most conservative, right-wing ideologues, social conservatives, and they'll sit there and they'll say, you know, especially when they're people that are in unions, and they'll say, "Oh, but we're leftists, we're socialists," and I'm like, it doesn't show in your praxis. I mean, you can say that you're leftist, but you kind of have to have leftist praxis, leftist the things that you do should align with leftist principles. And I just don't see that as being true. Some random geek says, if someone says I'm a leftist, I will ask what they mean by that. And that is so true. You have to, what do you mean by it? What kind of leftist are you? $8DX says, yeah, I don't think there's any good definition for leftist, but there are a number of general principles on the left that transphobia is antithetical to. And I think that's right on the money. What's incredible to me is people like Natalie Wen fucking are handing, wokeism and being canceled and that whole terminology, it's right-wing shit now. And it just plays right into their hand. So I don't see Natalie Wen as a leftist. I don't see her even as part of BreadTube, really. I mean, if you're talking about leftist, some random geek said, well, leftism is just a term to categorize a couple different ideologies. Anarchism, socialism, anti-capitalism, and communism are left ideologies. But if you look at all those, I don't see any of this that would describe Natalie Wen. I think she's just riding the fucking wave. She isn't right wing. She isn't left wing. She is grift wing. At a $50K a fucking month from just Patreon alone. Jesus Christ. Oh, it, and like I said, they are a creation of the they're a creation of the algorithm. Oh, this made me laugh. Anyways, let's see what other videos I have on here. Oh, I thought this was interesting. Oh.
Lifted so many people out of poverty. It's kind of bullshit. Workers won minimum wages, job safety rules, social security, paid holidays, health insurance, and many other things, all against systematic opposition by the capitalist class. The capitalist class, if it was up to them, we wouldn't have anything. It's that constant fight by socialists and the working class that we've gained all these things. And it's the same capitalist class that was in opposition to all those great benefits that we have today, were the ones saying workers' gains were achievements of capitalism. No, poverty was overcome despite, not because of capitalism.
Straight on. That's the truth. And as far as cops go,
the term ACAB, or all cops are bad, is not a moral judgment on the personal lives of every single police officer. This is why people who say there's only a few bad apples are missing the point. See, in capitalism or in any social system, you have to look at the roles people play, not just their intentions. And the role of the police in our society is to be a militarized armed body who protect wealth and property. If you tried to go into work tomorrow and seize the means of production, the police would be the ones who came and threw you in jail. It's just a necessity in a society that's based on private property owners accumulating mass amounts of wealth. You could have the nicest cop in the world, great family man, cool guy to hang out with, but his job is still to throw people in jail for nonviolent drug offenses, or go shoot rubber bullets at protesters. Maybe it's not my place, but I've seen our good buddy Base Black Communist criticizing BLM lately. He argued that a lot of BLM is basically liberals just asking the cops to be nicer, when actually the current system needs to be abolished or entirely rebuilt from the ground up.
This is probably the last time I'm going to respond to you because you've made it pretty clear.
Okay. I thought that was right on the fucking money. I was trying to load another video on top of that. I don't know where it went. God damn it. Oh, there it is. I thought this was kind of yeah, gotta stop playing the music. If there's a country that's committed unspeakable atrocities in the world, it has to be the United States. They don't care about they don't care about human beings. Nelson Mandela. If that's not the fucking truth. That's not the truth. I did want to play a couple videos by someone and I just want to see what people think.
The they fabs or transmasculine.
Yo, the kids on here will gaslight you the house down in boots. Basically what keeps happening is whenever I talk about these topics is people are tone policing like heavily. The reason why I say they fabs, and I understand if that can make you uncomfortable, is because people who are AMAB and AFAB in this community have very, very different experiences prior to and post transitioning. When you are an androgynous AFAB person, you have to understand that that comes with inherent privilege because you are looked at as being stylistic. When a trans feminine person does this, there's consequences. When a trans feminine person doesn't pass, there's severe consequences. You can see this by the murder rates, the trans legislation that is aimed at trans feminine people, and this needs to start being respected. I wasn't being derogatory. We have different experiences.
And then they started attacking her in the comments and she came out with the
I'm already all riled up. This is why I hate white women talking in intersectional topics. This person was being transphobic, bombastic, and misogynistic towards a trans woman, then told that same woman to not call women bitches. When a woman is discrediting my identity and talking over me, I'm gonna call her a fucking bitch. Woman to woman. Stop being a bitch. You dare say I'm being misogynistic in this situation? I'm literally being called a man. No one who's ever arguing in good faith would ever in a million years call a AMAB person or a trans woman a bio male. So the fact that you're getting roped into this and being tricked into thinking that I'm the one being misogynistic is rich and shows that you don't actually understand the nuance of intersectionality. So please, white feminists, tell me once again how I'm being misogynistic. I would love to hear it.
Oh my God. And see, here's the thing, because I got into an argument actually before we came on the show with a trans woman where she was talking about binary non-binary people don't pay the price in the same way. And she was talking about Natalie and her stuff with non-binary people. And I'm like, you know what? People that have passing privilege have less amount of, especially white trans women that have passing privilege. If you're visibly trans, I know I am. This person was going off talking about how they had been sexually or they had been chased down by guys that were hitting on them and realized that they were trans. I'm like, how about walking down the street and having somebody just fucking physically or sexually assault you because they know you're trans, because you're visibly trans. It's happened to me on multiple occasions. I wasn't going to get into a fucking oppression Olympics, but the reality is if you're visibly trans, you have a unique, whether you're however you identify, you're visibly trans, if people can clock you, you have safety issues. That's just a reality. So yeah. Anyways, so we're gonna get a little bit silly here. I'm gonna play a few videos that are silly, but I thought they were funny. Where are you? Oh, I want to play this one. I thought it was interesting. It's about knife crime in the UK.
Yes, the classic argument here. Are there more knife crimes in the UK than gun crimes in America? Very possibly. There are knives in every single home in the UK. But let's talk about fatalities, shall we? In 2019, in the UK, the entirety of the UK, the whole country, the amount of people that died from a knife attack was around 200, the entirety of the UK. In 2019, in June, in New York City alone, the amount of people that died from gun deaths was over 300. This notion that more knife crimes in the UK than gun crimes in the US means knives are more dangerous is ludicrous. There's literally a saying called bringing a knife to a gunfight, which suggests you've not brought the right tool for the job. Are you actually serious?
That wasn't the funny one, but I thought that was rather. I was trying to find, because I had two videos that I thought were funny. We're gonna go with this one. Oh shit! I have a moth in here. I don't know how they got in here. Oh my god! Oh. It was really funny. Oh, I know where it's at. I know where it's at. I have more than one. This one made me laugh because somebody was trying. No one is born in no one is born in the wrong body. Your body, here we go. Your body defines whether or not you are a girl or a boy. Whether. And this is a trans man. Ah! God damn it. Can't play the music that long. Oh, God, I love that. It's playing It's Raining Men. Makes me giggle. This one made me laugh too. Let's play this.
I just learned in my Greek mythology class about a hero known as Bophades. Bophades was a hero that fought in the Trojan War that was almost as powerful as Achilles, even having only one weakness. The same way that Achilles was only weak in his heel, Bophades' weakness was his groin. That's where we get Achilles' heel and Bophades' nuts.
I'm sorry. I fucking love that. This one was just kind of weird. This is kind of weird, but I liked it.
Together. Before we start, I want to read a Bible verse in Ezekiel. It goes, "There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses." Now, with that settling in, sing these words with me. Donkey. Together. Before Before we start, I want to read a Bible verse in Ezekiel. It goes, "There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses." Now, with that settling in, sing these words with me. Donkey.
Let's go to the original.
Worship together. Before we start, I want to read a Bible verse. Let's worship together. Before we start, I want to read a Bible verse in Ezekiel. It goes, "There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses." Now, with that settling in, sing these words with me. Donkey.
I want to hear the rest of the song. Oh, for the love of God. Oh, that's everything. Oh, God. Oh, dear. So, anyways, let's, I'm just taking a look at the chat. Jamie J says, sure, Natalie is a liberal. I know her good friend Lindsay is a liberal and anti-socialism. And yeah, I mean, that's all you could say is she's a liberal. Really. Well, and 8DX says, or 8DX, yeah. So, for example, as an atheist, I might not agree with some Muslims' religious beliefs, but as a leftist, the oppression of Muslims in Western countries is a much more important issue. And that's the thing. I support Palestine, not because, I mean, you'll get a lot of people who say, well, if you went to Palestine, they would kill you. In Israel, they have gay pride. I'm like, how does that impact human rights? I want everyone to have basic human rights. And the Palestinians are routinely fucking just have their land taken from them. Their homes bulldozed and their people fucking basically put in a open air prison. Multiple human rights organizations have said that Israel is an apartheid state. Sorry. Those are facts. And I support basic human rights, whether people that are being oppressed support my right to exist. It isn't conditional on whether they support me. I mean, I think it's all bullshit. You know? As I get older, older you get, the closer you get, especially if you work in healthcare, the closer you are to death. And you just have to non-existence doesn't scare me. Leaving the people that I love and never seeing them again scares me. But I'm not afraid of dying. But when you get people that basically are so caught up in religion that they'll try to tell other people how to live their life, it's just gross. And it's wrong. I mean, we can sit there and have discussions about leftist ideology and about what my guiding principles are always about personal autonomy, bodily autonomy, basically to be able to make the choices you want to for your own body, your own life. So it doesn't matter. My principles basically say to me that I should support a woman's right to choose because it's personal autonomy. If somebody wants to do drugs of any kind, I think they ought to have the right to. If you want to harm yourself, if you want to take your own life, if you are a sound mind and you want to take your own life, I think you ought to have the right to do that. That's bodily autonomy. You ought to have the right to eat whatever you want, to ingest whatever alcohol you want. If you are an adult and you are of sound mind and sound body, why not? And those principles affect all my other points of view. Because if there is a leftist ideology that doesn't support bodily autonomy, then you're not going to have me fucking in it. Sorry. Because, I mean, that's core to me. David Skog in the chat said, that being said, if you like daylight saving time, you should be canceled forever. Actually, I have no opinion on that whatsoever. I think whatever you want to do. If you want to get up in the middle of winter and it be, fucking dark until 8 p.m., until 10 a.m., whatever, that's fine. I don't care. Anyways, that's probably the hardest thing about living over here in the UK, though, has been the winters. The winters are very, it gets dark at 4:30. Sucks. Anyways, I'm not complaining though. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, bodily autonomy. Yeah, Adam Rainstopper says bodily autonomy has to be an absolute. Pretty much. I mean, to me, that's it. And everything stems from that, and everything flows from that. So, I mean, when I try to configure my leftist beliefs, it has to align with that. So, Phoenix Rising. David Skog says you should try Scandinavia, Marty. It'll get dark at 4:30. LOL. Well, I saw a video. I was talking about in Alaska. It's like at 8 p.m. It's still daylight out. It's like, yeah. Phoenix asks, what did Contra do this time? I was basically talking about her basically putting up a racist tweet, basically appropriating appropriation of AAVE, and then basically discarding it when it's no longer cool. So, yeah, that's what she did. But anyways, thanks everybody. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. I'm gonna keep the music up a little bit. If anybody wants to chat, you can always. Here, let me go back. Ah. If you want to chat, go into. Oh. You can go to this chitty chat. But otherwise, I'm just looking at the chat, seeing what you guys have said. Jamie J, I hate daylight. I still want to make I still want to make. Oh, by the way, Jamie J, thank you for being a patron. Some Random Geek, thank you for being a patron. Julie, who isn't here tonight, thank you for being a patron. I forgot there's one more. God damn it. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna have to go look. Right now I think we're at 3 or 4. Yeah, 3. So I was right. Leto, Jamie, and Some Random Geek. You too can support the Tea Party by going to teapartypodcast.com. I'm not sure if that works anymore. No, it doesn't. It doesn't take you to the Patreon. I'm gonna have to fix that. I switched. I went from Linktree. I went from because I was paying about £10 a month for just a decent site like this. I need to fix it up a little bit. But you can go to Patreon /Marty Abernathy. And that's MartiAbernathy. Some Random Geek kills me. On Patreon, he calls himself Some Random Geek, the official agitprop radical anarchist of the Steve Shives channel. Oh gosh. So anyways, I'm gonna keep on doing this as long as you guys keep showing up. So thank you all for coming. I'm just reading the chat. Oh, it's Phoenix's birthday. Happy birthday, Phoenix. Oh, and you're adopting a cat. That is so fun. Yeah. 8DX says, oh, I came late. I thought the latest Contra thing was her leftist should reclaim freeze peach post. Well, there's so many things you can pick and choose. She has done more for the right wing, and I mean, because you look who has taken the narrative over of wokeism. It's been the right. I mean, you have fucking the pastors on television talking about being woke. It's ridiculous. Phoenix said, my mom told me that the reason I'm having a hard time adjusting to living by myself is that I should get out more. You know, I have problems with that myself, actually. I have to force myself to go out because if I stay in this house a long time, I get depressed. Even if it's just going out for a walk out. I have a park that's right next to where I live. That really helps. Who's seen There's No Gays in Ireland video? Oh, let's see. Well, I have to look this up. No gays in Ireland. Am I gonna Am I gonna regret this?
How can I tell you that I love you? I love
Michael, now that the referendum's passed, do you think you're going to get invited to any gay weddings?
Huh?
Like any of your friends who are getting married?
Say that again, Kathleen. Now I'm a bit on the confused, and you're doing me.
Right. Now that the marriage referendum has passed,
Yes.
yeah, remember we voted. Do you think that you're going to get invited to any gay
Kathleen,
weddings?
there's no gays in Ireland.
What?
You're confused again. You got the misconceptions inside in that chip-like brain you have.
What do you mean?
There's no gays in Ireland.
Of course there
That's
is.
a thing the Americans do have.
Of course, there's gays everywhere.
They're not.
What about like Louis Walsh is gay?
He's not gay. He's a singing man.
But he's gay.
He's not. He's a singing man. Some people are singing men.
Brian Kennedy, he's gay.
He likes to do a jig. Is all he likes to do is a jig.
Gay. He jigs with men.
He's flamboyant, Kathleen. He's not gay.
Okay, but Graham.
Maybe he was confused, but if he meets a nice woman now, he'll settle down and he'll have children.
I don't think so. Graham
like
Norton.
the church, Graham Norton is another flamboyant
He's
man.
definitely gay,
He's
and
not
everyone
gay.
knows.
Kathleen, he's not gay. He's an entertaining man. An entertainer, Kathleen. That's what they do. They pretend to be a bit edgy.
But then why did we bother passing the referendum at all?
In case the rich foreign queers come over and we can take their money, Kathleen.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what to think about that.
Trip together.
Ooh. Oh yeah. A singing man. Oh dear. I don't know what to think about that, but I'm going to try not to. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, David, anything that is music related. He has good pipes, he does. You know, it's the most ridiculous thing. Having my accent, and I have gotten everything. I've gotten people ask me if I'm Australian. Like, what the fuck? The number one is Canadian. I can kind of understand it because I lived for a decade in Wisconsin, which is close to the border, the Canadian border. And you do have them say stuff like bags. You go to the grocery and you get your grocery bags. Bags. I'm like, you call them figs? Oh my God, they're a bunch of figs. No. But so Wisconsin is basically Norwegian, David said. So I would get Canadian more than anything, but then people will say Irish, and I'm just like, how in the fuck does this sound Irish? I would think, American Midwest, because that's what I am, or Southern even, but no. Anyways, but I got the weirdest ones. Australian, Irish. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, I'm sleepy, but I love doing the show. I'm going to keep on doing it as long as you guys show up. In fact, I'll probably do it if you guys don't. I'm just honest. I'm going to do it till I can't do it no more. Anyways, I will see you guys hopefully on Wednesday. I try to stay out of the hospital. but maybe Monday night, but I doubt it. I have been really bad about doing the gaming on Monday nights. But yeah, it's been a great show. I thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for hanging out. It's been awesome. I'm going to music play out for a bit if people want to hang out and talk to each other. It looks like people are. That'd be cool. So, well, I'll shut the stream down in about 10 minutes. So, people want to hang out and chit chat, that's fine. Glenn Danzig is definitely a chud. David. If Glenn Danzig married. No timeouts here, David. You get a promotion for that. I don't know to what. But. Yeah, you're right. Leto cannot time out David here. I'm almost as bad as David. I'd have to put myself in timeout. Well, the thing is, pretty much everybody in the YouTube chat can time out each other. We don't want to start a war, first off. Second off, for the D's nuts video, you probably would have had to put me in timeout. Oh, I am going to show some more stuff because I brought something up. Thousands rallied in France, Spain, and Berlin to mark May Day in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic as police scuffled with the protesters in Paris and fired tear gas. A police source told AFP that far-right or far-left black bloc protesters had repeatedly tried to block the trade union-led march in the French capital where 46 people were detained. Some protesters smashed windows of the bank branches, set fire to dustbins, and threw projectiles at police, who responded with volleys of tear gas and sting ball grenades. $106,000. crowds held placards with different demands ranging from the end of the nighttime curfew in place as part of the coronavirus restrictions to the halt of unemployment reforms due to come in force in July. Local media reported the situation calmed down around 8 p.m. GMT after the Capitol Police, this was in Germany, tweeted that they were ready to deploy water cannon to put out the burning wood pallets to ensure the flames did not reach parked cars. The crisis has made us face up to an outdated labor model based on casual work, seasonal unemployment, and inequality, which is exactly what the labor ministry has started to change, she said. That was in Spain. Anyways, yeah. I just thought that was interesting. I think this is going to be the last song. Have a good evening, everybody. And before I forget, we're gonna stop right there before you go any further. Do you love me? No. Anyways, charitylinks.page for basically to help out our comrades that are in need. Mutual aid. Go to charitylinks.page. And I almost forgot that. Charitylinks.page. Some random geek has put it in the chat. Also, don't forget to join all of the crew at Social Justice Alchemy tomorrow night. Oh, fuck. What is it? 7 p.m. GMT, I believe. I always forget. GMT is my time, so. But join join the party that is Social Justice Alchemy. I just realized something. Does that look all right? I just realized the restream bit was 1900 UTC.
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when we go live.